love you.
Horrible. Any insecurities, bring them out here. Let's get into them. Okay, this podcast, I think this guy me and him became brothers the minute we met. I'll be honest with you. I want you to just introduce yourself, please, mate, and we'll get straight into it after that. If you just please tell me your name, what you do, and a bit about yourself.
I'm Sanjay Roy. Not really sure what I do, but I do something, and that something's brought me here. I am the franchisor for a company called the Fruit and Veg Man, and I have franchised something that has been around for hundreds of years, but I've put a unique spin on it, and it's all been by chance and a little bit of opportunism, I think. So, do you want me to go into more detail now?
We'll cover that.
Yeah.
Let's forget about that for a second.
Yeah.
We'll talk about franchising in a minute. It's a bit boring, you see.
Yeah. I didn't come here for franchising.
Yeah. Talk to you about ultra running.
Oh, I'll tell you what.
Mate, do you even get taken seriously unless you've got a Garmin watch? That's what I need to know first.
Of course not, mate. Mate, if it's not on Strava, like this podcast is going to be on Strava, mate. I've already, clocked it in. So, ultra running. I'll tell you what, it doesn't matter. I don't do drugs. I want to say this, but I think ultra running is probably, if you had every single drug in the world, if you've ever watched Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, and there's a scene when Benicio del Toro and Johnny Depp are driving through Route 66, I think, and they've got a whole box of like uppers. I don't know why I'm talking about drugs now, but and they take all of that, and they think they're in backcountry, and there's bats flying around everywhere. Whatever high you get from all of those drugs, like finishing an ultra run, I think there's nothing that compares to that. Like, I mean, to be honest, like it's the journey, and I think it applies to anything that you do in life. And I think for me, it's very, like, again, I'm not religious, I don't do drugs, but all of those feelings manifest themselves when you finish a fucking big ultra run that you've trained for. And the great thing about ultra running is with every single other type of run, what I've experienced, and I'm sure you probably have as well, mate. If you're doing a park run or a 5K, a 10K or a race, everyone just bangs on about time. Oh, what was your time? What did you finish in? Did you get a PB? I did a 100-mile run. I finished it. No one asked that. They were just like, what, you did a 100-mile run? Yes. And to be honest, putting that aside, it's just the race that you have in an ultra run is with yourself. And the reality is that's what every single race in life is. And once once I understood that, everything in my life became just, I looked at it from a completely different lens. So, ultra running. So
yeah, no, it's interesting because I've got a friend who just popped out of nowhere again in my life. I've not seen him for I think it's about 10 years. And I put a picture of the tent box up on my Instagram, and he's like, "Oh mate, I've just got one of them." And he's like, "Mate, I'll come with you," because I'd just booked my first camping trip on my own. So he came. He's a policeman, but he's also massively into ultra running, all sorts of stuff. And he's coaching a group of people to do ultra running. I think it's the 23rd of September, if I remember right. I've got it in my diary. And we're going to it's a 50k ultra run, but he takes you on a quarter of it to have a go at it your first time. And he said exactly the same thing. No one ever asked you the time. It's just he said the main thing I think is when you get a bit bigger is nutrition side of it and fitness side of it a little bit. He said, but you can still do it. And he said like they did one around the lakes recently. I can't remember the name of it. Escapes me, but that was 100k, and they did that. And he said it's just monstrous.
Have you signed up for it then?
No, yeah, I'm going to do the training. I want to do it. I can't remember what it is. It's in my diary. I think it's 23rd of September. I think it's September. I'm sure it's this month. Pretty sure it's this month. It's on a Sunday. He said he said, but because I've done like a few mountains with him now, he just said just try and do your 5 and your 10Ks and obviously try and train. So I've been doing that. I just need to get a couple more 5 and 10Ks in this week and next week. And he said if you do that, food wise, I'm pretty good with my food and nutrition side of things anyway. I know kind of he's told me what to get, and I think I can fix that bit out. But yeah, so we'll have a go at it. Yeah, we'll have a little go at it. But I feel like I just can't turn up with my iWatch. I've just got to get a gam. I've just like got to get one before I go, because I feel like I turn up with my iWatch, I just get dismissed.
Yeah, I think again the watch is handy. So I do things. I don't mean to do things differently. I just do them because it suits me. And then when I do them, everyone's like, well, why are you doing it this way? And then when it works, it's like, oh, that's why you're doing it that way. But again, with ultra running, one of the things that I do, so when I was running at my peak, I was going to the gym 4 or 5 times a week as well. Like before I even started my running journey, I was much more into my weightlifting and strength and bench pressing, like real, I'm a man, testosterone, all that kind of stuff. But when you're running, it's far more about what's in you, your brains, like every single skill that I guess you can apply in business or anything in life is really used to the max. And the method that I used was something called Jeffing. I don't know if you've heard
so
of it.
Adam Lovelock taught Jeffing.
Adam
Lovelock talked to me about it. Talk to me about it again.
So it's made famous by a guy called Jeff Galloway. I think he was quite a high profile runner in the States. He was a coach there as well. And it's basically, if you read any of his books, one of it's called Marathon Training, alongside one of my favorite books on running, which is called Born to Run by Christopher McDougall. It talks about how we've biomechanically evolved over time as human beings. And the reality is we weren't meant to run 26.2 miles in 2 hours. That's not how we've evolved. Some people can do it. They've trained. They've got the advantages of their environment, and that's great. But the reality is we're meant to run a certain amount, rest, because we're hunter-gatherers, and then run again. So if you look in the animal world, there are no animals that run 26.2 miles. I mean, if you look at a cheetah or a leopard or some of the fastest animals in the world, they are sprinters, but after a few miles, they're spent. So what human beings would do would run, see the tracks, and they'd basically exhaust the animal before hunting them and capturing them. And that's how we've evolved. And for me, the watch has a great feature where you can have intervals and actually training. So going from sort of bodybuilding to ultra running, that evolution was great because it was always about taking breaks. I would do a 5K run, and I would run for a minute and then walk for 2 minutes. That's how I would start, because I was quite heavy and cumbersome, but by the end of that 5K, I'd done it and I didn't really feel that tired. And then I started using that method, and I just carried it on into bigger races, further distances, 10K, half marathons, 20 miles marathons. And then I changed the increments. So I went from 2 minutes walking, 1 minute running, and then my peak now is 9 minutes running, 1 minute walking. And the reason I do it at those intervals is because 10's a nice number for me to work out in my head. So when you're on mile 20, and that's the other thing, like psychologically, when you're on mile 20, and let's say you're doing 50k run, and you've got 10 miles left. You don't want to think, I've got 10 miles left. You want to think, I've got 8 minutes left before my next walk break. And the walk breaks are fantastic for nutrition, for, if you're refueling and drinking. So I would finish marathons in, well under 4. Like my first marathon I did was the London Marathon, and I finished it in like 3:50. And I felt great. I didn't feel like people were like passing out. And my consistency was always good in terms of my splits. And then the other thing, like, in terms of like the marathon distance, people would always go off too fast. The great thing about the Jeffing method, it forces you to slow down at the beginning. It's like, whoa, you'll burn out. Start really, really slow. It's how you finish that matters. Again, it's not how you start, because if you start too quick, you'll burn out. You won't even get to the end. Start with the end in mind. So, and then I just carried that on into ultra running. But the great thing about ultra running as well, it's the community are so much nicer. Like running is just full of dickheads. Like there are so many dickheads in the running community. All they care about is what's your time, what's this. Ultra running is, if we went and did an ultra run, it is like the fuel stops are like being at a kid's birthday party. You literally run, and after 5 miles there's a fuel stop, and it's full of sweets and cakes and like all the most horrible stuff that you wouldn't normally eat, but you're there and you're like, this is amazing. Haribo, Percy Pigs. And then what you'll do is for the next 5 miles, you'll just run with someone and you'll become mates with them, because you're both on that. You're running your own races. Yeah. But like we could have met ultra running and you're like, all right, mate, how you doing? Let's get to the next check stop. Let's. And when you're talking with someone as well, time just goes.
Flies, yeah. I always thought, would people have walkie-talkies, or would they talk on the phone when they're running? Because you could do that, couldn't you? You
could. I think on some, if it's a road one, they kind of ban like talking on phones unless you've got the right headgear and stuff. But I'm also, you could do that. But this country has some of the most, ultra running is a phenomenal way of experiencing what beauty there is in this country. Because again, when I first started running, it's all about road running. And that's the other thing. People get bored with running and injured running because a lot of it is on road. Yeah. And we've, again, not evolved on that. Generally, a lot of ultra running is done on trail. And then when you're out on trail, like you've just got the most, you could be there for hours on your own. You won't want a phone. You just want to, just be at peace. Do you
run with music or not? Because I can't run with music. Well, I always put music on me.
No, it's for the long runs I don't. Like I just like, because I can have music on at any time. Yeah. If I'm having a shower, or if I'm at work, or even if I'm in the van. But running's like, that's me time. That's actual me. There's no one else around. It's just, and again, with ultra running quite often you'll have you'll have to work out your own way of where you're going. So you might need to get the phone out, but they'll have like little markers and stuff. So you could quite easily go for an hour, 2 hours. You know where you're going. It's just field upon field, hills. But I like the...
Does anyone ever get lost?
Oh, yeah. People do get lost, yeah. Fortunately, I haven't.
Surely you just put it in your watch, wouldn't you, the map, then you just don't think that.
Yeah. So if you've got one of those watches, you can absolutely do that, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'd do, because I'd be too petrified of getting lost. No, mind finishing it.
Honestly, you would absolutely love it. Like I just think the way you're training, look, we don't know each other that well, but I feel like I know you.
Yeah, I feel like I really want to try it. That's why I'm going to do that with Tom. Going to have a go at it, and then I'll probably book. He's going to send me some races that he's booked on, and we're going to book on one. Yeah, and just work towards that.
Just like
we're going to do a couple of 10Ks, trail 10Ks before the end of the year. There's a couple more before the end of the year. And then I'll book an ultra for next year, and then I'm just going to have a go at it.
Do it.
Yeah, just have a go at it. Yeah. So quite a few people have been on this podcast who run businesses and have families and stuff, and running is a big part of their life. Do you think that, I've started to talk to my franchisees around it. Like, hey, what you're doing for yourself, how you're getting around it. Do you think that's something you talk to your franchisees about, or have you ever even thought about it?
All the time. That's... And I don't talk about it just from a physical health point of view. I'll talk about it from a mental health point of view.
Yeah,
I know it's big, and it's much more in the public, in the public domain now. Talk about mental health and stuff, but running helps with both. And I think running a business, you can burn the candles at both ends. Yeah. I'm guilty of that more than anyone, but it also helps to have a good support network around you. I'm very fortunate because my wife she works in the NHS, but I'm the sort of person who, at that ultra run, I'll just keep running. And if there isn't a finish line, I'll just keep going because I enjoy it, and I can be my own worst enemy. But she'll pull me back and say, look, just take a break. And I say that to all my franchisees as well. I actually make it very clear that, like, right, take some time off for yourself. I've got lots of ideas because we're still quite young. We've only franchised 14 months ago, so it's not been long.
How many franchises have you got? Yeah, have you got any yet?
Seven now. Seven. But
Seven's a lot in 14 months, wasn't it?
Yeah, we get hundreds of applications every week. Yeah. But I think because of the industry, fruit and veg, there's a lot, and maybe you get this as well. I don't know. It'd be interesting to hear your thoughts on it. We get a lot of people call in, not know really what a franchise is. They are very much influenced by people like Andrew Tate and all these YouTube influencers who are you can get rich by not doing anything and have fast cars and fast women, and you don't have to work hard, and and
fast cars and fast women ain't that good though.
No, it's well, I think whatever you want, like the starting point is work hard. Hard work will always beat talent if talent doesn't work hard. And for people who immediately come in and say, like, I want to buy a franchise, but I want to get someone else to do it, it's a no. Generally, I'm at a point now where I speak to so many people, like within like 20.
How much is your franchise?
So it was 11,000. It's now just gone up to 18,000. And I can go into it later, but there is a reason why we've pushed it up to that point.
Fine. Just interesting because we've not had hardly any leads over the summer time. It's been really quiet for us. But it's about 60k all ours, and it's 28k to buy it, and then the investment piece around it.
And then how much cash do they need in the first few months?
They don't need that much cash. You need about 10k in the bank, and it's about 5k set up. So like I say, 50, 60 grand all in. And
do you have a discussion with them about how soon they could make their investment back?
Yeah. So break even points like 17 months.
Okay.
They could probably start taking a salary about 9 months. You can put a salary in from the beginning if you want, but you might have to invest more at the beginning. But yeah, it's just interesting to hear. Where'd you get your leads from at the minute?
So if I rewind back to how, it's probably a good point to tell you how this all started and how I came into franchising almost by accident. But COVID happened. I was a personal trainer by background. The gyms were all shut. I was coaching squash and a bit of running as well. That all stopped. My wife works at the L&D hospital, so she was busy with COVID-related stuff, and I'd furloughed myself. But I didn't want to sit on my ass, not do anything, and so my wife got home one day and she saw that I told her that I'd set up a business called the Fruit and Veg Man, and she thought I was bonkers. And I said, well, the only reason I've done this is because I'm furloughed and I want to raise money for a local children's hospice. They're right next to us. I'd done a lot of fundraising for them before, and she said, okay, that's fine. And so she asked me, what are you going to call the business? I said, the Fruit and Veg Man. She said, that's a very silly name because it's so obvious and you're not going to get that as a domain. I said, I have. It's cost me 25p. I've bought all the .com, .co.uk, all of them, bought them up. I've set up You'd
have thought that would be expensive.
Well, yeah. I mean, I just didn't think anything of it. I was like, like the milkman, the postman, the Fruit and Veg Man, me, 25p, great. I'll buy all of them. Cool. And as soon as I set up the website, I was getting orders from all over the country. And what had happened was my SEO reach, I'm assuming because of the name, it'd gone right to the top of, like, above other very famous fruit and veg grocers and stuff. So I was calling, people from Newcastle were calling me and going, oh, could you deliver some fruit and veg? I was like, I'm really sorry, you're a bit far, And anyway, so I at that time, it was purely a very altruistic thought. I was already on furlough. I didn't want to think of it as a business or anything. And we started raising money for the hospice. We were delivering boxes of fruit and veg to them. So in terms of leads, we were getting them in organically in that way. That's another pun. And then slowly but surely we were getting busier and busier and busier. Restrictions ended. I had a colleague who had helped me do some fundraising before. He said, oh, I fancy doing a little bit of this as well. He started doing it, and he went to he was just so busy. And then we thought, okay, we've got a business here. We're raising money for the charity. We don't have any, basically what we were doing, we were going down to the wholesalers, picking up boxes of fruit and veg and then delivering it to customers. So then I thought, right, I know nothing about fruit and veg, absolutely nothing. And I know a little bit about business, but I don't know much about, expansion and scaling. And I'm a big believer of, if you don't know something, get someone who's an expert in that to do it. So I got hold of a franchising consulting company. I did my due diligence on them, and why I really liked them was because I must have hounded them. The first time I called them, they said, "No, you can't franchise." Okay, what do I need to do to franchise? They'd say ABC. So I do A, B, and half a C, and I'd say, "Look, I'm nearly there." "No, you're not ready. You need to go." And they hadn't taken any money off me. They kept saying no, and the more they said no to me, the more it was like lighting a blue touch paper in me. It was like, right, I need to get this done. And then eventually they were like, right, you're ready to franchise. And then they helped me do all the trademarking and making it professional.
Who was it? You answer.
Ashton's Consulting. And my franchise consultant, Phil, yeah. So I got on like really well with him because
he's mega in it.
Yeah. So similar age, but just I don't know. Maybe it's a guy thing.
He's just a proper fella, isn't
just a proper fella. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like just says it like it is. Like we just got on really well.
Get him on the podcast, Gay. We'll film off it. Yeah, get him on.
Yeah. He's and to this day, like we're mates. We'll go out for drinks or we'll catch up. And he was a very fundamental, intrinsic part to us getting to that stage. Then the first thing we did, so we professionalized it from being a box delivery service for fruit and veg to making an income in 4 different ways. Box delivery, fruit and veg, so people can go on the website, they can order oranges, plums, tomatoes, put it in the basket, buy, and then we go and deliver. Office fruit boxes, so B2B stuff, so corporate customers. We have contracts with most of the care homes in the country now, and markets, so market stalls. And market stalls are great because it's great for social media and and all that kind of stuff. So we did that, and then we franchised, went live, and we put an advert out on one of the franchise portals, and within half an hour we had 40 inquiries, and then within a week we had over 400, and I just couldn't keep up. It was a bit nuts actually, and a big reason for that is because it's a completely new franchises. There's no competition. People were like, "Well, what's all this about?" The entry point for investing is quite low, and everyone needs fruit and veg.
Yeah, and it seems pretty simple, doesn't it?
Yeah.
What's the hardest bit about it?
Getting up and
Why?
Because I'm not a morning person, and you need to get up. You need to be okay with waking up at 5 a.m. and going and picking your stuff up. And fortunately, most of my franchisees are morning people. And but yeah, I'm most definitely a night owl, and so that's definitely the hardest bit. But I'll take that any day of the week. Like I love. Once I'm up,
does it come fresh every day? Or does it once a week?
Yeah. So again, that's a great reason why people buy it from us, because we don't have bricks and mortar, which is why our franchise fee. So you just need a van. So the order comes in, we send the order to our suppliers, they put it on a pallet, we go pick it up, we go deliver it, done. And because it's picked up the same day and delivered the same day, you're going to get all the mushrooms look white, or the leeks are green. They've literally just come off, either a plane or the lorries from the local farms, and then you've got the best produce there. We can charge less because we don't have bricks and mortar to pay for. We're on top of our margins.
Is it all electronically, like on a CRM system?
Yeah, and again, it's a great thing about franchising. I can literally, if the cost of something goes up, I can make it go up. If it goes down, I can make it go down, and the prices are the same, uniform for all our franchisees. They don't have to do anything.
And then what's the hours you have to work?
So it's completely up to you. So the 4 methods of making an income, that's whatever strategy you want to use to make your business work. Because again, we always say do a combination of them. Don't do exclusively one. And the reason for that is because we don't have any waste either. So if someone wants to just do markets, then generally I'd say, so corporate deliveries, I'd say your work, Mondays are busiest days, but maybe 5 a.m. till 10, 11 in the morning. And then you got the rest of the day. And then market stalls are a little bit longer. But if you've got staff, it's absolutely fine. So maybe 5 a.m. till 3 p.m. for the market stalls.
You got one in Southport?
No, but I was intently look. I went and had a coffee there, and I was intently looking at the quality of the fruit. It's really sad. Like I'll go in and be like, oh, look at the quality of this. This is a great one. Bearing in mind, like a few years ago, I knew nothing about fruit and veg. We've got one in Manchester, one in Barnsley. We've just taken someone on in Northampton. But yeah, no one in Southport yet. But again, we're only 14 months in, and actually there is another hard thing that I find about it. It's just dealing with the amount of like dickheads that, you know, and as in that are inquiring and they're like, I want a business, I've got the money here, I want to invest, and to me it's like, well, hold up, let me know, I need to know more about you. And there's like, I don't know if you've experienced this, but there's like an attitude from a lot of people that we get call in who almost think, I've got the money, right, I'm in. And I you know, you speak to Phil, he's like, I think he gets a bit shocked at me sometimes, because there was one guy who I got on really, really well with recently. I went and met a coffee with him, pretty much a done deal. I really, really liked him. He got everything. And then he emailed Phil and said, oh, you know, he didn't contact me directly. He was like, yeah, I want to talk about negotiating on the price. Phil warned me about, told me about that. And I said, well, let's see what he has to say, but I don't negotiate. My price is my price. Price is what you pay. Value is what you get. And he emailed saying, I want to pay less and I don't want to pay the management franchise fee for 6 months. Because I feel like I can bring a lot to the table with my personality and who I am, and there's a risk for me because, you know, I've got to pay for the stock up front in terms of cash flow. And my response was, well, that's business. That, you know, I'm not negotiating. The price is the price. We don't negotiate like on the stores. You know, we don't sell things on the cheap. All our stuff is premium. And I'm such a big believer of like you pay. We're so good at what we do. You're paying me because I'm good at what I do. Like, I'm not negotiating down. I'm the best at what I do. I'm the absolute best. So you know, I responded to him just saying that we don't negotiate. That's the price. And then he emailed back saying, yeah, but, you know, there must be something you can do for me. And my response was, thank you for your time. All the best in your future endeavors. And that's it. Done. Like, so I'm just, I knew more about that guy, that he didn't get me and the culture of my business. I didn't want a relationship with this guy who was just focused on price. And it's what I train all my franchise. Money is just money, right? To me, I didn't get into this for money. To me, if you can make people smile, if you can offer them a solution to a problem, if you can offer them value, money sorts itself out. It will absolutely sort itself out. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's true about the money situation. I've got a friend, someone who wants to buy a franchise off me at the minute. And negotiating really hard. I mean, I'm not sent the email yet, but we're going to say no.
So how do you deal with it? If I'm sure you get people that say, "Oh, can you do anything on the price?" Or
yeah, I'll be honest with you, I'm quite brutal when I want to be. We turned down 16 this year so far, but it's been a quiet summer, like I said before. I think if they're negotiating on price, I generally probably won't entertain them at all, depending on their background and what their situation is. I can't really talk about the one that I've got at the minute, but there's a reason why I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I won't entertain. Me and Gemma talk about this all the time, and I suppose Kay will as well, is that they've got to fit the culture of Tezlom. And in the recruitment industry, Tezlom doesn't really fit the recruitment industry, to be honest with you. I think there's some really nice recruitment businesses out there that are very similar to us in the way we treat people and the way we act and our behaviour and language and our KPIs and our sales and the way we run things. We try and adopt that culture across all the franchises. So because we're the sector we're in, we attract a certain type of people sometimes, and I just won't abide by it at all. Does it mean that we don't grow as fast? Yes. Does it mean that, is it probably detrimental to the business in terms of sales? Yeah. But does it mean that we've got a really nice culture? I think so. So it's just what you're in it for. I know there's franchise brands that are very similar to us, have grown bigger than us in less than half the time. They've also got a really dysfunctional franchise network who don't really know each other, are all different dynamics, who have no idea what it stands for, and it's just in it for the money. And the problem with being in it for the money is that it doesn't matter what business you're in. Money comes and goes. You'll run your business, but money will go up and down in your business, and you'll be the best at what you do. You sell the best products, and I believe in you, but there'll be points in time, no matter what you do, it'll be tough. So if you're only focused on the money side of it, you're going to really struggle on the down days, and you're going to be celebrating like a lunatic on the good days. But if you concentrate on the values, what the business stands for, your customers, the people around you who work with you, and that's the thing that you're focusing on, and that's the good, then it doesn't so much about the money. And then, like you say, it just sorts itself out. But yeah, my answer to your question is, yeah, I do turn people down. I want the right culture fit. I definitely fit that. We on Tezlom and the people who work there definitely fit the 20%, not the 80% of people that want to come in, and I'm happy with that 20%. Yeah. That's the way I want to be. But yeah, some people would say I'm mad. I have had conversations with people who are very money focused and very successful, but it's just, I can't be asked that life.
Yeah.
I sold cars from when I was 17, 18 years old, and it's just purely about profit, add-ons, bigger percentages, more expensive cars, more commission. You do a deal, what's the next deal? You do a great month, what's the next month? And at the time, I suppose it was great because I earned loads of money, and that's great because you can do fancy things and holidays and things like that, but I've been extremely sad on holidays that most people will never go in their life.
Yeah.
I've bought things that a lot of people would never be able to buy, and I've still been like, with the second you buy it, it's just like, yeah, and what? And I think once you've been and done some nice things, now I guess there's a next level, isn't there, of like money, where people have yachts and things like that, and I guess that might be a different life again. I don't know, but then as long as you're using that money wisely and giving back as well at the same time, then I can think you could probably enjoy it better. But yeah, so then once you've done all that side of life a little bit, been in high pressure, KPI driven, money orientated businesses, although they're very successful and you can make a lot of money out of them, I think at the same time it's not a great life to live all the time. And I do believe in working really hard, and I do think that if you have a business, you have to kind of let it consume your life. But I think in between times, if you're looking after yourself, ultra runs, going to the park with the kids, going to the takeaway with the kids, cinema, getting your own selfish time, making you get your runs in, going to the gym, going to spa days, going out with the wife, going out with someone else's wife, whatever. Do you know? Yeah. But you know what I'm saying to you? I probably went on a little bit too much there, but I think yeah, we worked quite hard when we rebranded Tezlom. When Tom passed away, we were called 24/7 Professional Health, and we had some franchisees on board there who kind of didn't fit the culture that we wanted, and we parted ways. There's still successful franchises. There's still successful branches now. There's still ones that have been with us for years and fit the culture. We're constantly growing. We're just about to put on board another one right now. But yeah, I think you've just got to make it sounds like you've kind of done that, haven't you? You kind of created this amazing little energy pile of amazingness of Fruit and Veg, turned it into a big corporate business. I want to keep them values that you started it with, the intentions you started it with, but then grow at the right rate. And then also it's exciting to make money because it can change your family's life and your life and the people around you. And that's a nice dynamic to see as well, but at the same time trying to keep that value there at the same time. So it's, yeah, I can see why you do what you do. I like it. It's nice.
Thanks.
Yeah. Just talk to me a little bit more. Like, I wanted to find out. I want to ask you about your tattoos, but we're not going to go there yet. But I need to scrape back a tiny bit because you said you were a PT and stuff. So just kind of go right back to like where were you brought up and stuff like that. I know you said you're down in Luton. Is that where you brought up?
Yeah. Born and brought up in Luton.
Yeah. What's mum and dad like, and brothers and sisters like, and stuff?
So they're okay. Like we recently, basically cut off from our families, from my family, just because again, culture, values. I got to a point where I was like, look, we don't see life the same way, unfortunately. It wasn't a hard decision. It was pretty straightforward. With my upbringing, it's, a lot happened that it's only when you're older that you realise that's not right. So
can we all talk about that at all or not?
Yeah, I don't mind. I really don't mind. Both my sisters are doctors.
Mm-hmm.
I don't speak with them, and only recently, I guess a year ago. And my mum and dad are from India. They're immigrants. They came over in the 80s, worked in a warehouse. We grew up without any money or anything, and definitely there were some positive aspects to it, like not having anything. We lived in a house with maybe the size of this room, and there were 4 families in there, growing up. So. We didn't have much really growing up, and all they wanted was for us to grow up and have a better life than they did. Yeah. So that's fine. It wasn't easy. But equally, I think I always look at it as anything bad that happens in my life, I can't blame them exclusively. But anything good that happens in my life, I have to give them some credit as well with what's happened. Mm-hmm. And actually, you become you're a result of your upbringing and your environment and everything. And, I'm growing up, I was very much I'd have hundreds of people in my friend circle, and I'd have loads of friends, and we'd go out, and I thought I was happy. And it's only now that I realise, actually, I'd rather have a very small circle of close friends than people who aren't really there for me when I need them to be. Mm-hmm. It's probably the first time I will say this, and I'll say it. Me and Hannah my wife, we've gone through the IVF process, mm-hmm. and it's been very difficult. Yeah, and we went 3 years on the waiting list with the NHS, and then we found out we were pregnant about 2-3 months ago. Oh.
Congratulations.
And then last week we went for the scan. There was no heartbeat, and we lost it. So I have 2 ways of compartmentalizing, and actually the business is for both of us. It's we love it, but equally we're not. Look, we were talking about money earlier. Tomorrow we'll be pushing up daisies. It's time is just going so quick, and the older you get, the quicker time gets. Yeah. And the reality is, like you said, money comes and goes. Yeah. And you're saying, you've been on holidays, people would never go in their lives, and you're unhappy. And I was speaking with Kay earlier, and you were talking about your gratitude attitude diary. Yeah. I genuinely that when you talk about culture, when you talk about mindset, that to me is one of the most important things, because hey, you got a franchisee here, or hey, we've developed the business here, but oh my god, we've just had a miscarriage here. Life is never perfect. No. And I think it's always trying to and naturally I'm a very high person and a very low person, emotionally, I've and I guess that's part of being human.
What's that sign here?
Aquarius. Okay. What are you?
Cancer. Yeah, very similar.
So I just think it's looking at the and actually having that gratitude, you can go for a run. Do you know what, I drove up here and I ran over 2 pheasants, right? And the first one literally just came out of nowhere. That motherfucker just ran across the road. I ran over it, feathers everywhere, and I was like, fuck. And I just carried on, and I was like, I think for the next hour or so, I could not stop thinking about that pheasant. I was like, I wonder what its life was like. It just came out and it just went, and I've just run over it, and I felt bad. Then the second one, I was still thinking about the first one. The second one came to the footpath, and I was on the road, and it stopped, and it looked at me, and I went, right. I slowed down. I was like, you know, you're going to go? No. And as soon as I hit the accelerator, it then went, and it was the second one I ran over. And I thought, I think that second one did that one on purpose. Like, and then I started thinking about what that second one's going through. And I think, like, generally, like in life, you can do things that I didn't actually try and come up with an analogy. Like, this is literally just me thinking here, but you know, you can do things on purpose, you can do things accidentally, but you know, one day you're, you know, cock of the walk, and the next day you're a feather duster. Yeah. So you just don't know what life is going to bring to you. But I think having that gratitude, like genuinely, like I came up here and I was like, look, that's fine. I went into a cafe down there, and I was literally in my shorts, and I had like a bag on, and like it wasn't a cafe, sorry, it was a hotel, really nice. Like, you know, if that was in London, like if I got any like 10 meters near it, someone would be like, don't even come anywhere near us. And I walked in, and everywhere was shut, and I was a bit early here, and I was like, all right, I really fancy a coffee. Walked in, and everyone's like proper dressed up, like, and I'm like, oh, this is like the poshest place in Southport. And I was like, can I come in and have a coffee? They're like, yes, of course you can, sir. And there were like all these like suited and booted people, and there's me like with a fruit and veg top, like, and they like took me in, they sat me down, and they were just super nice to me. It's so bizarre, like just so bizarre. And then people just, you know, there's some guys at the table next to me, they started talking to me. And again, like I'm not used to the just bam, nice. Yeah. And it just, you know, just made me think, look, you know, there is niceness out there is goodness out there, you know, so whenever something bad happens, something good will follow. Yeah. And it's the other way around as well. So it's a tricky one. That is a Katrina came on the podcast a few weeks ago, and we talked about that, and she's like, always try and find the silver lining. Yeah, always try and find the silver lining. There's always something to be grateful of. I mean, like just being able to talk, or being in good health, or being able to walk, or there's loads of 100%. Literally, you can always find. Like, Kay gets to work with me every day. Like she should be grateful every single day of her life, shouldn't she? You're welcome.
This is why I do breath work.
Yeah. There's always a reason to be grateful. Yeah, it's a nice way to look at things. That IVF journey is a tough one, so I think you've got a bit of work there to do. I know someone really close to me who's gone through that. So,
yeah, I think it's more for like, you know, I'm with someone who's like my best friend. She's just the most, like, really, like what women go through is unreal in that process. And I mean, even like she did everything to make me a part of this process, even though she's the one being pumped with drugs and everything. And we got our I can't believe I'm talking about this. We got our like syringe, like injections in the post, and Hannah goes, right, I want you to do the first like jab, and I'm petrified of like needles, and I know, right? Like it's all right when I'm there and I'm like not looking, but when it's, you know, just anyway, I got it out, and they're quite. I mean, it's literally like a pen that you just put in, and you jab with your thumb. And the first day I got it out, she pinched her belly, and I was about to stab her, and then the next thing I remember was waking up with her fanning me, going,
come on, Sanjay.
Oh yeah, I know. She was like, "You're such a brave boy." You're so, oh my God, you know this IVF. And I was like, "What happened? What happened? Are you okay?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." I was like, "Did I do it? And she was like, "No, yeah."
Mate, you can't run ultra runs and pass out when you're jabbing your missus.
Yeah. So, well, this is what I mean. Like, just I don't know what's going to happen from one day to another. So yeah, it was. It's IVF is hard for a guy. I'm glad, exclusively here at the Tezlom Podcast, I can talk about how tough it is being a guy and going through that process. Thank you, mate.
Oh, brilliant. That's good, isn't it? So, I want to scratch some more surface, but I don't know how comfortable you'll be about it. But so you enjoyed... Did you enjoy your upbringing and your family life? Was that amazing, or?
I think yes and no. Yeah. I think it's never as binary, like things like that, and it isn't. I can't say yes. There are huge parts of it that I look back at, and I think that's not right. You know, being like physically abused your whole life is not. You know, you might think that's a cultural thing and that's okay, being left with bruises and clumps of hair out of your head and all that kind of stuff, you might think that's right at the time, but it's only like when you get older and actually even through this IVF process and you look back and you think it wasn't right then and it's not right now.
No.
So, but then, them coming in and them saying, look, work ethic, like we haven't come to this country for you guys to not do anything. I think again, it's a cultural thing because like I wouldn't say we fell out over this, but they didn't really understand what I was doing. Like, why are you selling fruit and veg for? Like it's that kind of. Yeah, and I'm like,
this is going to be really stereotypical. It doesn't mean to come across this way, but I have talked about it before. I think it was Armitage. It's like you've got to be, if you come over this country, doctor, surgeon, that type of profession. It's kind of drilled into you for your culture. Yeah, that's tough. That when you don't want to do it and they don't understand that is tough because you're kind of your own personality. What they're really trying to do is they want you to be successful, don't they? What they're trying to say is be as successful as you possibly can and grasp the opportunity. But if you fundamentally don't want to do that, then they should be supportive, in my view, of what you want to do.
But they are wanting you to be successful in their way.
Yeah.
And actually they've come to a country, and irrespective of what's going on in the world in this country at the moment, and the views and what's going on in South. Geez, I was driving up to Southport, and my wife was like, "You going to be safe?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure Ryan will look after me. Yeah. He's my boy." But irrespective of what you think, it goes back to gratitude. Man, I sell fruit and veg, but I've made a living out of it. I've made a business out of it. I've made other people successful selling apples and pears. Like it's like I can do that here. And I can be happy. And it, as you grow older, I don't give a fuck if you're a doctor. I don't give a fuck if you sell fruit and veg. I don't give a fuck if you're a franchisee. I don't give a fuck who you are. All I care about, I don't give a fuck what you do. All I care about is who you are as a person.
Yeah, your character.
And that's it. I genuinely, that's, my working class roots, that's, we're talking about earlier about how I can come in here, I can go into a 5-star hotel, someone welcomes me in, gives me a cup of coffee, doesn't judge me, doesn't do anything. Yeah, if you go into London and you sit on the tube and you say hi to someone, they'll run a mile from you. Yeah. So they're just, again, culturally my views and stuff.
I think it's a character thing. I think me and Kate talked on text message this morning about money and stuff, but the more I've got older and the things I've been through, and being a dad and being married and having a business and a team and family and stuff, and I don't speak to any of my family, just no other reason than I just didn't want to. Not mean or anything, or they weren't in trouble, but I literally don't have a relationship with them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I lost my dad and I lost my brother.
Yeah.
And then cousins and uncles and stuff, I don't really speak to them, but not because they're not, I just don't.
Yeah.
I don't feel the need to.
Yeah. Have they ever reached out to you?
No. I'm sure they wouldn't mind, but I just didn't really feel a need to. I've lost track of what I was going to say then. But so what I'm saying to you is character. I firmly started to really start thinking about it a lot over the last few years, and definitely even more on a higher level very recently, is your character's more than anything, really. What type of person you are. You can make it brandy if you want, but what you stand for, your personality, what people say about you when you're not in the room. And I think also you've got to be let people find a new character as well. I think change is, you've got to accept. If you're going to be an empathetic soul, if you are an empath and you are someone who's willing to see views from other people, you have to be forgiving. You have to let change happen. You have to be able to take anyone's story on board and accept that they might want to move through it and learn, because to be an empath, you've got to have made mistakes, so you become empathetic, and you've had to be through some emotional trauma, I think, or have to be quite an emotional person to kind of get that feeling of, right, okay, the world isn't perfect, things aren't going to go to plan all the time, and people make mistakes, and I've got to learn how to be empathetic. So that, I think that becomes down to character. And I think you can be a millionaire and you can be absolutely skint but still be equally the same person just sat over a table. It makes absolutely no difference about it's just how you talk. But some people have got better stories than others, and some people have done bigger lessons than others. So
everyone has a story. Yeah. Everyone has a lesson, and it all comes down to the ability to fail. I mean, part of my advertising campaign is at the Fruit and Veg Man, join the biggest failing company in the UK, bar none, and I'm proud of that. And people get really sort of, what do you mean? Why would I join a failing company? And I went, why wouldn't you? Because we fail every day, and we're proud to fail because we learn from it. We look at the data, we see what works, and we constantly, that is evolution. That's literally what's happening in the cells in your body. You know, it's not enough. There's not enough said about failure, and it's like a dirty word. I mean, even growing up, like it's one of my things. It's like, well, why have you failed? Why have you done this? Why haven't you done that? You know, it's
so many people don't do something because they're striving for perfection. So many people don't do stuff because they think that it has to be perfect. Even like down to social media posts. Like half the team here won't post on social media because they don't want to be seen unprofessional and they think they're going to. And what the problem is they have to get good at it by making mistakes.
Yes.
And until they understand that and that penny drops, we're never going to get anywhere with it. And I just get sick of trying to tell them. But that's goes if you just take that mindset and just grow it a little bit further. And that, why aren't you successful in your career? Because you're not willing to make mistakes. Why haven't you got your own business?
Yeah.
Because I'm not willing to make mistakes. Why aren't you the director of business? Why aren't you a shareholder? Because you're not willing to push yourself and make mistakes. You're just happy and find that contentment, unfortunately.
Have you seen the Netflix documentary, the one about Michael Jordan?
No.
If you ever watch it, it's phenomenal. And I can't remember what it's called. I'll send you the message.
Yeah, send it.
And he talks about. I think it is a really famous line where he says, you know, I've missed like 10,000 shots. I've been injured. I've lost matches. I've done this. I haven't trained well. I've been sick. I've let my team down. I've let my family down. I've done this. I've done that. And he goes for a whole list. And then right at the end, he goes, and that's why I succeed. And it's, you know, that it's definitely worth watching because like his mentality, the way he approaches things. And even when things are going good, there's like an anecdote where he'll create failure. So I think so. The opposition of a basketball team that he was playing, the coach was at a restaurant, and then the next day they interviewed Michael Jordan before the game, and they were like, "Oh, so you know, how have you been?" And he was like, "I'm really pissed off." Why is that? Oh, because I walked into the restaurant and there was the coach from the other team. And he didn't even say hello to me, and I'm fuming, and I'm going to show him. I'm going to absolutely show him. The guy's, you know, he was so angry, and then he went on and he had one of the best games, like won the game, and then after the match, they interviewed the coach, and they were like, "Do you think you ignoring Michael Jordan the day before at the restaurant basically inspired him to win the game for you?" And he was like, "I wasn't even at that restaurant. I wasn't even there for dinner." And they were like, "What?" And basically, he had created that in his head, like to push himself to like to the point where he absolutely believed that's what's happened, that's what's pissed him off.
And
that sort of, you know, it's he wasn't the tallest player, he wasn't the most skillful, the fastest, and you know, it all comes down to like aptitude is nothing, but if you have the right attitude, that will get you to the right altitude. So, you know, and in his case, that's exactly what he did. And, you know, he's a great example of like, you don't need talent. Like hard work is just there, and actually just breaking yourself down, being smart, and accepting failure as a means to success.
Yeah. That accepting failure part and accepting that you're not going to be perfect and not everyone's going to like you, and them, not because you're purposely not getting what into liked, it's just that you're going to go about things a bit not personally professional or the best way because you're just trying to find your feet. People hold themselves back in lives because they won't do that. Yeah. And it's just doing it and going, fucking hell, this has gone all right, this has worked. I'm not going to say anything, no one knows, but this has worked. And then just next one and the next time and the next time and the next time, you just got to keep tapping away and doing it. Yeah, and that's, I think, it's...
But it's also like, I mean, this is the second time I've physically met you, and the first time I met you was like maybe a minute, and we just spoke about running. Yeah. And I was speaking to Kay earlier, like what you guys have done with this is incredible. And I was just seeing, you know, I love seeing your post. I actually genuinely look forward to it, whether it's like a clipped up short or it's the actual podcast itself and the guests that you have. And, you know, this is the result today, but I'm sure it wasn't like this when it first started. No. Like you just went and you did it, and you're like, right, I'm going to do it, and I'm going to be consistent, because consistency is excellence.
Yeah.
And, you know, start now, get perfect later.
Yeah. So we started off inviting people, and we did the first one, and we were thinking about removing the first one and getting the guests back on again. But I think it's nice sometimes to see the growth. But it's that you're exactly right. It's just, I said to Kay, let's do it. She was like, let's do it. We both knew why we wanted to do it. It's still there, exactly that same core piece of work. Every time we do a podcast, me and Kay, we kind of both want to go and lie down. We talk about it for about 5 days afterwards. And we love putting the clips together, and Kay will send me like an email with the clips in, and I'm like, fucking hell, this is sick, and we talk about it, and that's why we do it. And then every time we do it, she's like, let's get some backlights, let's get this, we need to do that. Literally yesterday, a couple of weeks ago, we bought a black backdrop. Now we've bought a timer, you know, for a flash. So we can take a proper picture, some pictures for the team. But then in my head, I was like, well, every time we do a podcast, we'll get a proper picture with the person. And, do you know, and we'll start doing that. So it's just, having a belief in something of what you want to do. And the belief is that me and Kay needed the franchise industry to have a voice of the people leading it and part of it. And because we found some amazing characters in it, and that's why we started it. She's got the ability to do the editing and create a safe space for me, because I need that, and I've got the ability to ask the right questions, and because of my background I can tease the right information, and that's what it's done. And we just get better and better at doing it. And I think having not been scared of doing that was the piece of work, and it's the same bit of work in anything else in life, isn't it?
I want to go further on that point that you've just made. I mean, I've been here just over an hour. I've walked in here. My mindset is like, I've run over 2 pheasants, but I've had a nice coffee, and I've walked up, and there's a big sign saying "Don't be a dickhead," and I'm in 2 minds, and I'm like, does that mean I can't come in or not? You know, I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it a go. But just seeing that, and actually seeing your podcast, listening to them, and just seeing you guys generally on social media, meeting your team. What I absolutely love about you, and I generally, like, this is what I've always believed as a person and in the business: be authentic. And you guys are absolutely authentic. I don't see anything that is, you know, disingenuous about you guys. There's no fakeness. As I said, like, how many buildings you walk into and it says "Don't be a dickhead"? Like our marketing that we have is "Don't be a," and we've got a picture of an aubergine. You know, so it's. I just love the fact it's very unfiltered, it's unedited, and people love that.
Sign is just about. I don't want people to put a facade on when they come working at Tezlom or they come and visit us. I don't want people who have this professional thing that they've put in front of them. And I've had them, you know, lots of people in my life like that. And you meet them, and I'm just like, oh mate, why are you like that? You just want to give them a big cuddle and just say, stop it. Do you know what I mean? Like, what's life done to you that's made you be like that? Do you get what I mean? But I
was listening to the radio yesterday, and they were talking about CVs, and all CVs are the same now. And they're saying, everyone's a strong team player, but on their own they work great as well. And I've always said, I'm fucking shit at working with teams. Like, and I'll be honest with that, but I'm phenomenal working on my own. And they were saying, like, if someone said that, like, on a CV, like, you would read that immediately and you'd be like, right, that person's different. I just wanted to ask you about that sign. Was that your idea?
Yeah.
How long have you had that out there?
5 years, haven't we? 6 years since you did the rebrand, yeah. So if you follow the signs, it says, what does it say, Kay?
It says, welcome to Tezlom. You're safe here.
Breathe.
I
can't remember the one.
Something else, and then don't be a dick.
Yeah, don't be a dickhead. But it's me. I did it.
Did you? Like, was it right? I want to put this up. It's going up. Or did you have a talk about it? And were people like, I don't think you can have that?
No, I didn't ask anyone. But I knew that everyone would like it, and knew because the culture was right already. We had it right anyway, so I knew when I put it up that it would fit us. It was how it was led. I wanted that sign to set the stall out that I mean business by it.
Yeah.
I think it's because, like, so many people will be watching this thinking it's unprofessional. There's people taking pictures with it, and those people, you fit in that 80%. You might be a nice person, you might have a lovely life, and I get it. Look, cool, but you're in the 80%. I like the 20%.
That sign is, if you've read Diary of a CEO, Stephen Bartlett, that's your equivalent of his blue slide. In his, I don't know. So when he was in his digital marketing company, where he made his fortunes, all the media, they always wanted to interview him, at his office, and in his office he had it was a big office, and he had a blue like an inflatable slide in there, and basically like they'd interview him, and his staff member would just go up, go down, and then go to work, and that was their way of like, and it had nothing to do with the business or anything, but that blue you can't quantify it in terms of ROI or anything like that, but it was authentic to him. And people would just come, like, to me, like, I'll walk away from that and be like, brilliant, like that, I'll think of that. But again, it comes down to your authenticity, really.
Yeah, of course, it's that type of person. It's interesting, mate. Franchising, so...
do we have to talk about franchising?
No, it's not. It's more the lead up to it. So I'm just trying. I need to get the back end of this story, how you came about, really. So, your family, Luton... Your mum and dad came over from India, you came over, okay, upbringing, not amazing, but you reflect on it and you don't love it. But did you go to university or college or anything? What happened there? How did that bit work?
Yeah, I went to university, studied law. I took some years out, I did a bit of travelling, and then I've worked blue-collar jobs. I've done all sorts of it. I've worked for Royal Mail. I've been a postman. I've done each and everything. I think, like, COVID, though, and actually meeting Hannah...
When did you meet Hannah?
I met her I was a running coach. I officially met her a week before COVID happened.
You were a running coach, did you
I was a running coach, yeah. But
she's full-time PT at this point, or?
Yeah, pretty much. But she's from Devon,
right?
Which is the other side of the planet as far as I'm concerned. It's just so difficult to get to from London. But anyway, she's from Devon. She was in Luton working at the L&D hospital. She was on a placement there. She had 7 weeks left. She had rented a house in one of the roughest parts of Luton, and we'd been texting. So she had messaged me asking some tips for running, and I said, okay, let's go out for a run. And then we were messaging more, and it was okay, cool. Like, she was like, okay, why don't you come pick me up? I don't know anywhere in Luton. Here's where I live. Here's my address. Come pick me up. And I was like, great. I'll take you to Dunstable Downs, which is this most incredible part of that world. Some really nice trails. We'll do a 5k, and it is literally you're running and you can just see the shires. So as I'm driving, she's given me an address. I've typed it into the sat nav. I've never heard of this road, and I'm driving for where I live in Luton, and I'm getting closer and closer. I'm like, hang on a minute, this area looks very familiar, and it's basically where I was born, where I grew up, and there's like shopping trolleys everywhere. And as I enter like a road, there's like a massive graffitied cock like on the wall of a house. I'm like, oh my fucking Lord, who am I meeting? Like, who on earth is this person? And I drive up, and she opens the door, and she's like, she's just, like, she's royalty. She's just such a nice person. And she comes out, and she's in a very sort of ethnically, like, well, she's in Browntown. She's like in the brownest part of, like, there. And it's rough as fuck. Like, it is literally like, it's where I was born, it's where I grew up. She's like, like, where's Wally? There she is, there's Hannah. So I pick her up, and we're driving. She, like, genuinely, like, it's not for a woman. I can totally understand. It's not the most comfortable place to run. Like, you're running down, and people are looking at you. So I took her to Dunstable Downs. We went for a run. We got on like a house on fire. And then as we were driving back, I was like, so how come you're living here? What's, And then she explained she's from Devon. This was near the hospital, but she's only here for a few more weeks. What do you think of Luton? So that's what she's seen of Luton. And if you hear about Luton, you hear all the shit about it. You hear 24 hours in police custody. You hear about Andrew Tate. You hear about Tommy Robinson. Bloody hell, like Tommy Robinson and Andrew Tate, Luton. Fuck's sake, man. Like, Give me someone good. So you hear all that shit, and then you think, right, Luton is a shithole. It's been voted the crappiest town to live in, like, the last, God knows, 20 years in a row. It's got such a bad reputation. Yet, that's just what the media really show you. Yeah. So when we went running, and then COVID happened. So a lot of the running we were doing were out in the trails. Genuinely, the Luton is, there's a lot of it is countryside. You've got the Chilterns, and you could be there, and if you didn't know it was Luton, you could be in the middle of Wales. And the hills and the trails, it's just absolutely stunning. I lived my whole life in Luton, in Browntown, right? Literally, like, just, it was rough as fuck. There was drugs everywhere, like, just, crime, just the worst of the worst. And that's what I thought Luton was. And it wasn't until I started running that I discovered, and it took me like 30 years to discover, shit, this is my hometown. I fucking love it. It's brilliant.
No way.
Yeah. And then Hannah said, I've got 7 weeks left. And I said, if I can show you how amazing Luton is, that it isn't just confined to what you're seeing in this very small part of Luton, then, will you consider staying? And she was like, well, yeah, maybe. I'm not like desperate to go back to Devon. And then obviously COVID happened, so she couldn't really go back. We were doing like doorstep dates, and then we just got on really, really well. And then we did something that was a bit crazy. So like 6 months from the first time I met her, I was like, should we buy a house together? And she was like, yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Sick, love that.
And like both of our families were like, what the fuck? Like, why would you do that? I was like, well, why not? We don't know how long COVID's going to happen. Like, we like each other. We've both got the exact same amount of money to put forward to a deposit. Let's give it a go. Like, we did it, and it was like one of the best decisions we ever did. And then that's when we just lived our life. And we then got married during COVID. Like a year later, it's just crazy. Like COVID, it just seems like a dream, doesn't it? Like, so during COVID, I met her. I got engaged, bought a house, got married, started a business. And even when we got married, we got married in a railway station, because like her family are like railway enthusiasts. My family are from Calcutta in India, so they've still got the British steam trains all going there. So we got married in a railway station, and our guest list went from 100 to 50 to 30 to 12 because of all the restrictions and stuff. And it was a really bizarre experience because whilst we were getting married, we had like our 12 like family there, and the registrar was like, right, before you exchange rings, you're going to have to sanitize your hands. We're like, right, okay, it's what the government have said you've got to do. So we're there, and we've got cameras, so all of our extended friends and family can watch it on Zoom. So the registrar goes like this, and there's an industrial size bottle of hand sanitizers, and he squeezes it, and it makes the biggest fart noise that you can imagine. And it's just like literally like the dirtiest, like imagine
Kay's like that. Kay does
the most
protein shakes.
Spiciest vindaloo with like literally chilies coming out of your ass, like, and not even like
Kay, that's what Kay's like. She drinks that much protein shake.
Oh right, okay.
Oh, yeah, mate, it's bad.
So imagine curry flavoured protein shake.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. Like, I just.
Go on.
It comes out, and like we're pissing ourselves laughing. Literally, like everyone's just laughing. Because like it's just come out, and my hands are caked in like jizz. Like that's what it felt like. It was literally just, I was like, what the fuck? And we're both like, so we're right. Okay. So then we exchange rings, and we've all got our masks on and stuff. And then he goes, "You may now kiss the bride." And I'm like, right. It was just the weirdest experience. I'm like, why the fuck are you telling us to sanitize our hands? Like, and it's we've got a video of it, and it's we always have a laugh about it, but we think back to those times. It's just
a bit crazy.
Yeah.
What an amazing wedding, though.
Yeah, it was. We had a steam train that just took us up and down a mile. We hired a tuk-tuk, like a nod to the Indian side, which broke down, carrying Hannah and her dad to the wedding. So she was an hour late. So I was just stood there thinking, fucking hell, she changed her mind or anything. But yeah, it's quite an experience.
Fucking hell.
Are you married?
Yeah, I am married.
Yeah, just think about that.
Yeah, it's a bit like that at the minute. But I am married. Yeah.
How many kids do you have?
I've got two. Got a 5-year-old and an 8-year-old.
Boy, girl, boys?
2 boys. Logan and Jackson. Very dynamic, different people, but almost look very much like me.
Yeah.
Jackson's going to be a little creative monster. I don't know what he's going to be. Hopefully he's a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
Ideal, so I get the rest of my tattoos done for free in 15 years. And then Logan's definitely going to be very much trouble with women. He's just going to, he's going to just causing lots of trouble.
Heartbreaker.
Yeah, he's...
is that, how did you say he was, sorry?
5.
5, okay.
Yeah, he's already got about 7 girlfriends. But yeah, so they're both... they're both amazing. I have to tell you though, kids aren't my life. So that sometimes people find that difficult to swallow. I love my kids and I'm an amazing dad, and I see them, speak to them all the time, and I do everything with them I possibly can, and Kale vote for me and everyone who knows me, but I don't make them my life. I make me my life.
Yeah, you have to.
And then everything else around it. I'm an inspiring dad to them, I'm an emotional dad to them, I'm a very emotionally charged person. But yeah, I think they are part of my life, and I want them to be independent. I want them to be strong minded. I want them to be emotional. But yeah, so that's how I look at it. Lots of people have different views, and that's completely fine. But yeah, I will never make my kids my life in that term. Do you know what I mean?
I think that shows an incredible amount of self-awareness, actually, because how can you fully love anyone if you don't love yourself?
Yeah.
If you don't know what makes you tick and what doesn't make you tick, how can you give the best of yourself to anyone?
Yeah.
But that comes with, like, experiences and doing.
Self-awareness is fucking. I wish more people had more self-awareness. I think people think they have a grade of self-awareness. I think I've got a lot of self-awareness. I think it takes literally staring yourself right in the mirror some days and saying, am I being a good person? Am I being manipulative today? Is my behaviour acceptable? Should I have done that? Do I need to go back and apologise? How am I going to change what I did this week to better next week? What am I going to do for myself so that I don't act in that way?
Do you journal?
No, I don't journal. I kind of journal through my posts on social media, I think. I often think about that. I think I do journal. I've got loads of fucking posts that I haven't posted on my phone. I must have 60 at the minute that I've not posted, just started. Some of them are like, I can never post stuff because no one will ever speak to me again. And certain individuals wouldn't speak to me as well. But I think I probably should journal. I'm always scared of someone. I do have something in my drawer when my brother passed away, and the lady said, my counsellor said, try and write about it, and I probably wrote about 45 pages. And I think if anyone ever wrote that book, they'd probably ring the ambulance services for me and get me put section pretty quickly. But yeah, no, maybe I should. I believe in quite a lot of things, I think.
Are you still counselling?
No, I'm not counselling. I did counselling for, I think it was nearly 3 years, 2.5 years solid. The first year was every week. I still speak to Sally, my counsellor. I did some recently, I think last year, my dad passed away. So I did some bit more deeper stuff than that at that point then. But I actually think you can go, I might revisit it, but I don't need it right now. I think also sometimes you kind of make peace and put everything together, and then you can step away from it for a little while. I think it's a bit like being a PT. If you keep on seeing your PT, you're just wasting money.
Yeah.
I think like you have to do the work and come away from it, and then if you feel like you need to go back to it, but if you carry on going, it gets to a point where I was like, I don't really need to see you anymore, Sal.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I've kind of put all the blocks in place, and then I think you learn that new skill, don't you?
Yeah.
That's running's my biggest thing at the minute. I'm back into running a bit, training. I'm just sorting out my garage at the minute to be able to do cold water therapy again. I've got like a proper tank that is frozen. You can make the water freezing. Wow. Yeah. So I'm going to get back into that as soon as I can get this fucking garage sorted. But yeah, I think self-awareness is a massive skill that not a lot of people get, but I only think it comes through by going through some sort of.
Yeah, I think so. When you've experienced trauma or loss, or there's a reason why you look at people like Muhammad Ali, or I was watching a documentary about Simone Biles. I don't know if you know her background.
No.
She was adopted by her granddad because of loads of issues with her mum. And there's truth in, like, there's people that are so driven to get to the top because of what they've experienced. It's all well having a middle class, wealthy upbringing, and generally they'll get to a certain extent. But I think really, like, to really elevate yourself, like, there's just a drive that you have from loss, and from being self-aware as a result of that loss.
Yeah, I think you're right. I never wish it on him. I have wished it on some people, to be honest with you. When I've been in my pits of my anger, I've wished some pretty nasty stuff on people, because I do.
But that's okay.
Yeah.
As long as it's inside, like, that's completely normal.
Yeah.
I after we had a loss, every single person that I saw with a kid, I was just like, oh, fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, just
so there's a part of my family that I know, and I think they did it for the 10th time, and then they got it the 10th time.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it cost them a lot of money.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's fucking big money.
Yeah.
Their 10th time they did it, and then I've met the little girl, and she's amazing. So yeah, I think you've got to, I don't know enough about it to give you any advice or any comment on it, but you're an amazing person, mate. I really like you. So
likewise,
I wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know enough about it to comment, so I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
I'm sure we'll find out more about it.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to catch up with you. Are you going to the expo or not?
So I probably will go.
But
I won't.
No, not.
Yeah, I'm not big enough or bad enough or.
You don't sound like you need it with all them leads.
No, I don't. I like going just because it's nice, seeing people that I know. Listen, the one of the things I've loved most about franchising are the people in it.
Yeah. Have you joined the BFA yet?
No, I haven't yet. But so when I've actually got a funny story to tell you. So after I saw you for the first time it was the IFE, wasn't it, that I saw you? And so after that, the Businesses for Sale had a party on a boat, and I don't know how I wangled an invite. Yeah. But it was my first time at an expo. It was really my first time meeting other franchisors, and I don't know why. Like I genuinely, like, maybe it was like the Michael Jordan in me, but every franchisor that I met, like yourself, like, and all the others that I met, are just such nice people. But for some reason in my head, I just thought everyone was a cunt. Yeah. Like I don't know why.
Yeah, no, I get that.
And it was, I'm sure a lot of it was to do with inexperience. I went to that.
But I think it's your ego a little tiny bit as well, because you need a little bit of that to say that I need to be the best at this, and no one else understands what I'm going through.
Yes. I 100% agree with that. So I went on this boat party, and everyone's like all dressed in their, like, suited and booted, and women are looking lovely in their dresses, and I'm there, I don't know, in my Fruit and Veg t-shirt, and it's got the Fruit and Veg Man on it, and I was like, do you know what? And there's alcohol everywhere. I hadn't drunk, and I was like, do you know what? I don't really know anyone here. So I can either look at that as this is a bit shit, or really take advantage of it. And I decided to take advantage of it because I wanted to know more about what people actually like. Not there's people walking around going, oh, this is my business, here's my business card, here's all of this. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I can find all that out. I don't need to know that. So people are, and I had a shirt, Fruit and Veg Man. So what is it you do? Like, and that was the question that everyone asked me. And my stock answer was, so I'm a franchisor. Do you know what? I wish this was my answer when you first asked me what I did. So I'm a franchisor, as many other people here. And basically, let me ask you two questions, and hopefully you can answer what I do. Do you like fruit and veg? Yes. Do you like sex? Yes. Put your hands together. And they went, I don't understand. I said, so I've got a very niche franchise. It's a website called onlyveg.com. And basically people pay to shove broccoli up their bums. And, there's like different, and deadpan face, there's different memberships, and our franchisees are basically trained to lube themselves up, you know, and there's like different like levels at which they can enter. And like basically there was like 10 people around me, half of them got it like immediately, half of them didn't.
Wow.
And out of that half, they were like on the phone typing in onlyveg.com, right, on their phones. And I was like, they were like, oh, it's not coming up as anything. Are you checking it on your? Because that is.
No, I can't read.
She jokes that. She's into stuff like that.
Is that a franchise?
Kay's into stuff like that. People think she's oh yeah, man.
So and so it was coming up as like unrecognisable domain. And I said, look, you won't find it at the moment because reception isn't great here. But also at this time, it's the evening. It's was it a Friday night or it was either Friday night or Saturday night? I was like, that's our most popular time. So all the traffic is, you know, we've only franchised for 14 months. And honestly, there was like a group of girls from like a swim franchise. And they were generally like, so how is business? I was like, absolutely thriving. Like, you will not believe how many people like Fruit and Veg and sex. Like, all of you put your hands up. Like, you should absolutely try it. And, you know, the franchise network are absolutely, it's completely, and I used all the arguments about how we're unique in this sector to that. And what I loved about, like, that's when I knew, because like, by the end, like, everyone knew that I was obviously not, but they all carried on with it. And they were like, can I give you some tips on which, you know, vegetables I think are, you know, and basically, literally, by the end of the night, it was like, we were talking about sexy fruit and veg. Everyone was talking about it. Everyone was talking about what to, and so after that night, my LinkedIn blew up, and everyone was like, "Do you remember this conversation we had? This, that, and the other." And genuinely, I was like, because I just wanted to see who would get offended, and I think that's what I wanted to do because I didn't know anyone there.
No one would get offended. I don't think anyone would get offended.
But I didn't know that. I saw everyone dressed up, everyone like, you know, and in my head, and it's probably the ego, I thought, look at all these cunts. Yeah. Like, genuinely, that was like, who are all these people here, like, on a boat? Why the fuck are we on a boat? Yeah. Like, it's London. Like, London's full of wankers, and now I'm on a boat full of wankers, or dressed like wankers, doing wanky stuff. Why am I here? Like, why the fuck am I here? And my ego just got, I did something to break myself down, and I walked away, and I went, I was the wanker.
Yeah. I've done it, been there, done that. I know someone else, I won't mention them on the podcast, but I definitely know someone else has done the same thing. And I think it's okay that, though. I think it's perfectly acceptable, and I think it's absolutely the right thing to do, because you have to have that mega self-belief when you do what you're doing.
Yeah.
But joining the British Franchise Association, categorically, I ain't saying this to pun the BFA, was the best decision we made. So
I want to talk to you more about that. Why? How quickly did you join?
So we were going since 2008, and my dad, from his previous business, didn't believe in the BFA, but the BFA has changed a lot over the years. But also, I don't think he was allowed in the BFA. But that's another big long story. As soon as my dad got poorly, and I took over like the franchise side of it, I was just looking. I'm not a great reader. I have read books. I'm not a great person to sit and watching videos. I get bored really quickly. So,
have you tried Audible?
Yeah, I just get bored out my fucking head listening. I don't want to skirt. I want to know now.
Yeah,
and I have zero patience for stuff like that. So going to the BFA, I was exactly the same as you at first, and he actually said to one of the chairmen at the time, I was like, I think it's a load of shit. Apparently, it's a bit of money for a rope type of membership type of thing. I was fucking so wrong.
Wow,
so wrong, mate. And every BFA event I've been to since we joined in 2018, I've been to every single one.
But how did you get from the BFA is a bit of a meh to like then signing up and then realising just how
it was the first? I went to the first expo. The first expo was October 2019. Or was it? It might have been the March. I think it was the October 2019. I went and I wasn't a member, and I went. I think it was just before COVID hit, weren't it? Was that 2019?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and I went and sat with Pip because I was like, because the VMG events would let you on if you were not a member, but you'd signed up to be a member and you're going through the process or whatever it was. I can't remember what it's called. So I'd done that part because I wanted to go to the expo and get the brand out there. And as I'd done that, I spoke to James, but then Pip was there. And I sat down with Pip for ages because it was quite a quiet show because of the COVID. And I hit it off big time with Pip. And at that point, then I kind of changed my mind there because I thought if she's leading this, it's not what I think it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If you're meeting the person who runs the whole ship and
Yeah.
they're not like that, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And I think at the after drinks at that event, I met loads more people, and then I just started networking. That's what I do.
Yeah.
I am the fucking best networker in the world, or one of them anyway. So I just started talking to people, and then at that point, then I was like, "This is my knowledge. This is what I'm going to learn my way. This is what I'm going to learn. This is how I'm going to find my way. This is my knowledge." And from that point onwards, I've just been like a sponge. And just learning and having conversations. And I'll be honest with you, I think every single event I've ever been to, I've learned something new and had a conversation with someone new and gone away humbled. And that's the way I do it. So, yeah, you can get all your legal jargon and all that sort of stuff. I've got the qualification. I've got my interview on the 12th of September to get the QFP.
Yeah.
But categorically, mate, join the BFA. Go to everything you can possibly go to. It's expensive. Do it. It's worth it. Enter the awards, just go all in. Yeah. And it will be humbling for you. You'll surround yourself with the right people. You'll pick loads of information up. You'll stop feeling like a madman on your bad days. That's it, like literally. Yeah. That's if someone was telling me to do a pitch for someone joining the BFA, that's the reason, not all the other bits. That's like you think were... Because I don't think I've ever had any potential franchisee ask me if I'm in the BFA. I haven't. So that bit isn't the selling bit for me. I use it as a tool afterwards and tell them what it takes to be in the BFA, and then that becomes something. But yeah, I've never had someone ask me that.
What's if there's one thing that is the biggest thing that you have taken away from being a member of the BFA and implemented that within Tezlom?
Oh, mate, there's so many things.
But if there's one.
So the biggest one probably is going to have the most impact is something called the Tezlom Journal. Me and Gemma did it on our QFP training. Mine was with the guy who runs Chantry, and I've forgotten his name. He's coming on the podcast, but I forgot his name. And it was basically going over spreadsheets and break-even points and financials and how you teach a franchisee to be like that and what happens if you don't understand all that financial aspect and how you measure franchisee successes and how often you should do it in the one-to-ones and all that sort of stuff. And to be honest with you, I was like head in the clouds about that. We kind of did it, but didn't really have a name for it. And then with Kay being like a bit of a creative and Ollie who's doing the sales, we created something, the Tezlom Journal, and now it's a document within the business and we're rolling it out. So I'd say that's a pretty big, pretty big piece of work that came from being there. I'd say that's one that sticks out to me quite heavily. Meeting my franchise solicitor, met my franchise solicitor, worked with her, and I've worked with her quite a few times. That's a big piece of work. Having private and deep conversations about my own self-motivation, my own dealings with other franchisees and all that side of it.
Who would you speak to about that?
I've got fucking loads of my phone book. Yeah. So I'll always get everyone's phone number when they finish the podcast because I believe your net worth is your net worth.
Yeah, that's a great line. I like that.
Yeah. So, I think I've got quite a few people I pick my phone up to now. I'll probably say about 25. Adam Lovelock's probably my closest compadre in the franchise industry at the minute. Armitage's a big one as well. Emily Price, she's a big one. Emily, yeah. Pip. Yeah. So yeah, mate, it's a big cost, it's a big overhead. So get yourself to a point.
Well, that's. I've spoken to them, and I've always said to them, I need to get to this point for it to work. So I'm probably one franchisee away.
Yeah. And can you get to like these? It's tomorrow, isn't it, in Birmingham? Isn't it? Like there's the what they call collaboration stations there. I've got to go to.
Okay, is that a physical thing or?
Physical thing. So it's half a day. It's in Leicester, I think, tomorrow, and I can't go because I've got something on. But I've been to the last few and they're really good. Yeah. I wish I was going. Yeah. But you get start up whatever the first one is, expanding, established, and blah blah blah. Yeah. And I've sat in all three of them before, and it just fountain of knowledge, but also giving back. Yeah. At the same time to people who don't know. Yeah. So that's what I take from them. They're really good, like pot, and also you have to step away from your business. You need to step away from your business.
Yeah.
You've got to get away from and doing it because you never get a chance to work on your business.
I think this is the biggest problem that I have found in my business because, so my original franchise territory, which is like the flagship, so to speak. We won Luton Business of the Year this year. Again, that was a complete like shock. But I'm a franchisor, but technically I'm still a franchisee in that. And it's, my wife is like, you need to work harder in selling your territory to, sorry.
Are you trying to sell it?
Yeah, I want to. The problem is, why?
Why?
So I can work on the business rather than in the business.
Why wouldn't you just get a team and keep it? That's what I've done. Because I know right now what's going on in my sector. I deal with the clients today. We changed our CRM because of it. Do you have
your own CRM? Or
yeah,
do you use
well, we got one that we work with and made it a bit bespoke with them.
Okay.
But the reason was is some competitors offered something that we didn't know. And then because I felt it myself, I did it. So I don't know, sometimes you might be better off getting someone in to manage that branch that you run and keep your ear close to the ground.
So to be honest, I think Phil said that to me, Hannah's mentioned that to me, and now you've mentioned it, and I trust you free. And I just haven't, I guess I'm so used to now at this point, even I'm at the infancy of being a franchisor at franchising. Like, I guess I've got to change my mindset up because at the moment it's very much like, I'm awarding franchises to areas that are, a blank canvas. I've got this, Luton Business of the Year, the flagship franchise territory, its turnover is crazy. Someone's going to come in and offer, and, it should be as easy as that. And it hasn't been because obviously I'm charging more for it because it's an established business, but also Luton is, the people that we're getting that are applying for it, even if they've got the money, haven't got the right mindset. So it's definitely something I think I need to work on. Think about. And you're right. You're actually right. Like, we've got 2 market stalls. I've got 5 members of staff on the market stalls. So they run themselves. It's really the deliveries that I need to get someone in or someone to do all of it, really.
Get a couple of people.
Yeah. I've never hired someone full time. I don't know that process.
Yeah, you need to.
And
you only grow with people around you, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need amazing people. Like fucking Kay, amazing. Yeah. One of the best people I've ever worked with in my life. Yeah. Love her to pieces.
Oh, right,
okay. Do you know what I mean? Like there's some people that work for me, like I fucking love them.
Yeah.
Like I literally love them.
Yeah.
Like that's it. But if you want to create something massive, you've got to bring people along. If you can, find someone who's better at you doing what you did. If you can find someone who's better at running the market stores and the delivery is better than you are, that's the ideal. Look at Kay, better than social media than me.
How did you find Kay?
She just wrote to me and said, I love you so much. I've seen you on social media, you're amazing, you're so handsome, can I work with you?
Have you got
I thought he was going to say off like a street corner or something.
That's usually what I say.
Have you got any friends?
Yeah.
Yes, I have.
It's a complicated story about Meet Kay, but
it's a complicated story.
Not in a sexual way. She wishes it was, but no. It's but she used to work for someone I used to work with.
Right.
Okay. She came working for me, because of personal circumstances for her. But yeah, she loves Tezlom. I like her working here. We're probably going to do some other stuff together, aren't we, in the future?
Yeah.
Do some events and stuff like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. But so yeah, my advice to you, if you're going to grow a team, don't think about what you could make that person be. Think about what that person is going to bring to the table for you.
Yeah.
And so I think a lot of times when you're trying to employ people, you're trying to make people fit, and you think, oh, I could do this with this person, and they can do that part of it. But think to yourself, actually, I need someone who's going to come in and just take that over for me, and then they have better ideas, and put your ego to one side and bring them in that way. That's a real smart way to do it, I think. And hire fast, but fire faster. So if they're not right, fuck them off quick, and then get someone else in quicker.
Yeah, I think that's a real eye opener for me, actually, and thank you for that, because I'm not the sharpest tool in the.
Yeah, you don't have to be. You've got likability.
Thank you.
No, doesn't matter what you do in life, how much fucking money you've got, how fucking skillful you are. you're not got likability, you're fucked either way, aren't you? You want likability.
Yeah.
You've got
that's true.
likability. You've got likability. You can't not like you, mate. Seriously, you
Yeah,
know what I mean? You can't not like you.
Yeah.
So it's just try, and that's my advice to you if you're going to grow a team.
I genuinely, I'm very, very grateful to you for that. Because
That's what I would do. And
Yeah.
as you go your franchise network, you say you've got real life information from the ground, and you never lose that.
Yeah.
And then, in 5 years' time, if you're that big, you might want to sell it then. But I think just having that real life information. There might be some franchisors watching this and totally disagree with me, but that's up to them. I'm just telling you my side of the story, and if they want to reach out to you and tell you their side of the story, let them. But
have you ever had anyone approach you to purchase your...
Yeah.
And you've said no?
Yeah. I've had it all, mate. I've been down the line with it. I nearly did sell it at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when Tom died, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then that's when we rebranded. I might buy other people out in the future. Might not happen. But I think right now I'm really happy with what we're doing. We just got to work a little bit harder because the marketplace is a little bit tougher.
What are your goals for the next sort of 12 months?
Next 12 months, open about 6 franchises, if I can. We're just rolling out the CRM, get that really rolled out. Work on personal brands for the team. I do need to sit down with some of the team members and just find out some of their personal objections and make sure I've got them on the right trajectory. Probably make the brand a little bit stronger than it is. It needs to be a bit stronger. There's some things I want to work on. But yeah, the operational side is getting the CRM rolled out, maybe a better payroll sorted, or just work on the payroll company and getting them better, tweak it a bit better. Sell about 6 franchises and get them all successful. Find out the personal objections for all the people who work for me, and just keep it like that. That's probably mine.
Do you get your leads generally from the shows?
Yeah, shows is our best one, and then the e-shots around the shows. I think this podcast's been going on for a little bit too long.
Sorry.
What do you think?
We're 1 minute 40, 1 hour 40.
Okay.
Wow, 1 hour 40?
Yeah.
Flipping heck.
Mate, I'm going to tell you now, you are going to be a fucking amazing franchisor.
Thanks, man.
You bet you already are, but like, my bit of advice is get some more team members around you if you're going to get bigger than you are now. Find someone who can help you and hold your hand. Get some real good fucking sergeant majors around you, mate.
Yeah. What did you say? Your
Yeah.
net worth is your network.
Yeah, get some real fucking good people around you, mate.
Yeah.
Not ones that make you feel good, and ones that can
challenge you.
Yeah, fucking Kay does everything.
Yeah, Kay's friends.
The jammy dodger, I call her. Sticks everything together.
The glue.
Yeah. So yeah, but yeah, that's what I would do if I was you. I'd try and go to some BFA events for free before you get your membership. See if Phil James will get you in somewhere to come to free. But try and get to conference if you can, if they'll let you.
Yeah. Are you going to the annual?
Yeah, mate, we've been fucking. We're been shortlisted for the award for
congratulations.
brand awareness. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to that one. But yeah, I'll go to the conference. I'm going to Expo. I've got a talking slot on Saturday at 1:15 on Theatre 2 on Saturday. At the Expo. But yeah, I'll see you at the Expo, mate.
So the next Expo is the one in
Birmingham. It's the biggest one, yeah.
Is that next week?
No, biggest one. It's in October.
It's in October. Okay.
Yeah, first week of October. All right. I'm going to wrap it up because I think me and him could literally chat for fucking weeks, mate. Absolute pleasure to meet you, mate.
Likewise, mate. Thank you.
Cheers, mate.